Let's talk about reflective displays. Got a few to test out. Firstly, let's talk about Eink displays. But later in this video, I've got something special to unbox for you. It's not reflective, but interesting nonetheless. So stay put for that. At the end of a full day working on my 2 huge LCD screens in this study, I feel physically beaten. I feel that I'm struggling to focus on the work. But the day that I was forced to work all day on the Boox Tab Ultra C was different. So there is something to this idea that bright flickering displays with intense blue light shining straight at us through the liquid crystal display is not having a good effect on our eyes. So I've been looking at this article on 16.9 and it talks about a study conducted at Harvard, which is called Comparison of Oxidative Stress Response in vitro retinal cells exposed to blue light from emissive versus reflective displays. And one of the quotes from that is that devices including Eink's Comfort Gaze front light were up to 3 times less stressful for retinal cells than LCD devices. What they used was a cell incubator with light only coming from the displays. And they measured the oxidative stress on the cells, what they call ROS, reactive oxidative species. So a type of chemical produced by the retinal cells essentially. And you can read the article and the full paper from the link in the description. Just do yourself a favor and pull it up on your large screen reflective display or your Boox reflective Eink tablet or use the send to Kindle function or of course send to Remarkable. And I read it here on this reflective LCD screen. In fact, I've been working all morning on this reflective LCD screen, writing this script. The article even goes on to say that Eink displays can be considered to be safer for your eyes than even print paper. And this, they claim, is because of the bright white pigments that they add to paper to give it that brilliant white color. Whereas e-paper screens tend to have lower contrast. They're a bit more of a black on light grey look, which many people find more comfortable to read on. This is all very interesting if it's true. I would say that the study only looks at cultures of cells, and many people would say that eye strain is caused by muscles in your eyes getting tired from squinting at one distance all day and basically forgetting to blink. So you do need to train yourself to look away periodically and focus on the distance and give your eye muscles a bit of a break. But most people report more comfort using Eink, and they find that they do blink more often when they're using a reflective display like either Eink or the reflective LCD. I can certainly tell you that I'm finding that if I turn both these monitors off and I just use this reflective display, I do find that more comfortable. You don't have any of those blinking lights then in your peripheries. And certainly I wouldn't be working here with all of the video lights on. When I just use this one, I do blink more often and I do find that my eyes are more comfortable after long periods. I want to tell you why I've gone on such a journey with Eink, because I do think it's important to consider as an individual how you find using display technology. So it's a personal journey. You will know, for example, if you get the same as me, or if it's not so bad or worse. So let's talk about reflective displays. There is now little doubt in my mind that the screens that I'll use and that I've used throughout my life will do permanent damage to my eyes. And this year I am going to spend more time here at this desk writing and filming and editing these videos for you. I've never thought that I get the very worst eye strain, but perhaps because I'm reaching a certain age, or perhaps because I'm just exposing myself to more screen time now, having long sessions on them here, and perhaps because I've been a user of display equipment since I was very young. Perhaps I'm just more aware of it now after making this content for you. But now I don't feel up to more than sort of 2 hours straight of viewing on an LCD or OLED screen at a time. Certainly not at these really close distances that we work at. Perhaps it's just that this is the first year that I've had sustained periods working from home, where the vast majority of my day has been staring at the screens. Well, it's not the first year at all, is it? Of course, we all did that throughout COVID, and that's when I started to notice this issue with eye strain. Perhaps it's also my eyewear. When I wear my contact lenses, I do find more eye strain than when I wear my glasses. And perhaps when you think about that period of time with COVID, perhaps there is some permanent damage. In any case, I'm now convinced that reflective screens are more comfortable to work on. They're the future, to some extent at least. I'm enjoying having a large reflective screen here on the desktop. And you see I've added this nice front light, this sort of overarching lamp here, which does a pretty good job of spilling a bit of light across it, so I can use it in more than just the daylight when I've got good natural light coming in the room. It has a warm and a cool light setting on it as well, so we can change that to match the ambient light of my main light in the room, which is quite warm anyway. And I do think if you're going to use reflective screens, you do need to be aware you are going to need to customize your lighting solution slightly for them. It now gives me comfortable reading and typing even into the evening, or early in the morning as I was typing this one. And I think if I can try and aim to be only using these LCD screens for video and photo editing, and maybe keep that down to just two-hour sessions in these full days when I'm working at home, I think that I'll be more comfortable towards the end of the day, that I'll be doing myself a favor. And I think if you can just add a little bit of variety into your screen time, you'll benefit from it. If you have one of these excellent Boox tablets, for instance, you can use Space Desk from your computer to do that little bit of reading or indeed typing. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more intentional about that. I mean, Space Desk is a really excellent app. Just go ahead and load it up on here. I've got the controller installed on the machine. I just click on my Windows machine. It makes a connection. You see immediately it's recognized it. It is now one of the screens, and I can fire across anything that I want to it. It even works with the touch and the typing. So you can go ahead and edit and work on this program on the main computer. So it's all saved and all linking directly onto there, but you're using the Eink screen here. It's pretty nice. And then of course you can just take this out of the room. As long as you're on the same network, you can read it on the sofa, and you can carry on working on the exact same document, the exact same programs on these screens, but on your portable Eink tablet. And this isn't just a dumb screen, it accepts pass-through of the touch and the keyboard as well. So you can sit and edit Word documents on your sofa. And the third option of reflective screens is perhaps projection. So perhaps that's one for me to try in the future. We've got Eink, RLCD, projection. Those are our three options. But then there's this idea. This is the Eazeye. Wow, I mean, I didn't see this one coming. It's really something. Let's get it out of the box. See the tech specs on the side here. It's got 1080p screen. It's a 24-inch screen, not quite as big as the RLCD. 75 Hz maximum display refresh rate. Obviously that's a lot more than Eink is. But HDMI and VGA, so there's no display port. A clip-on stand which is tilt adjustable, and it's VSA compatible. And it's of course a 16:9 screen. Just lifts out there. Okay, it's like they've just chucked in a American to British power adapter. Fine, it's a solution I suppose. US power adapter, connection for the stand. HDMI, which I won't need because there's one already. Haven't spotted any instructions yet. That's too big for that. They are clearly meant to go around that. There we go. Just had to be a little bit lower down. Success. And that slips back in. There we go, magnetically. It's nice, a little bit of give there though. A bit of wobble probably. All right, get rid of this monitor. Drop in the power lead. Just doesn't want to go behind my desk, of course. Useful. Pass up the power lead. Very light. Very easy to manipulate. And plug in the HDMI. We are. Okay, and immediately it looks like a normal monitor, which is nice. It's not what you want it for, obviously. That's obviously going to be an acceptable monitor to use any day of the week. It's just like a normal 1080p monitor. So the trick it's got up its sleeve though is this panel at the back. How do I fold that down? Is there a button to release it? Or do I just have to use brute force? I think I just literally use brute force. I do think they'll need to think about this packaging. This isn't a delight to get it off, which I think is designed to come easily out, to be honest. I would suggest like a paper sleeve or something for this thing that would just sloop straight off. This doesn't have the unboxing ASMR quality that perhaps it is to take the whole thing out there. And in fact, even with the thing not even on, it's still very viewable. So, okay, that's the rear panel. Okay, so that's with the light off. So, okay, I've got these different options to talk you through. Hopefully I'll turn it so you can see it. And the nice thing I'm gonna be able to do in this room is directly compare RLCD with this interesting transmissive LCD. So I was a little bit skeptical, but I mean, even without the thing, if I switch the light on, it just looks like an ordinary LCD monitor now, but a little bit darker on a bit of a lower brightness mode. The idea of this though is that you can use it to capture some of the ambient light. So if I put this back in, it can be pressed right close, and now it looks like an LCD monitor. This is going to make for some really interesting comparisons between the RLCD screen and this, the transmissive LCD with this kind of ambient backlight. Let's have a quick look at some of the features of it. There's a few things that I'm already really impressed by. For instance, if you close this, it looks exactly like an ordinary LCD screen. Found out if there's different color modes. Image ratio, that was just a power button. I've got what looks like a pretty standard set of controls here. It has a blue light. Oh no, you can change the brightness, yeah, of the light itself there. Yeah, so you can add blue light or take it away. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off. I'd say, you know, the 5 buttons on the back. I don't think they're even labeled. They're all exactly the same little button, so it's hard to tell which one's which, but of course you'd live with it and you'd get used to it. And then it's nice that you've got a dedicated button on the side where my thumb is here, which can just turn the light right off. Now, here's the trick. You can push this back at a steeper angle, and now it's going to be gathering light from the room and transmitting through the LCD so that you can actually read it. So if I use this light that I have conveniently here, bring it right in, you can see I can use any light that I have in the room to give me more control over what's going through. I mean, it does look very dark at the moment. There's no denying that. It does look quite dark at the moment, but even with this, I haven't got it on full power. There we are. And that's nice and bright. I shine that onto the panel behind. I mean, I can see this. I can actually see this being quite comfortable. And again, it's that nice thing that I'm pretty confident that this is going to let me work in whichever way I need to as a replacement for that LCD screen that I just took away. Because at any point I need to do some video editing, I can just clip it back up, turn on the side light, and there we go. The back panel I think is magnetically attached and it's not doing all that well. I like this. What if I take this right off and just try and use the wall behind it? That's quite nice. Even just, that's the bottom light on. It looks quite dark, but actually that's quite friendly. Comparing that to the LCD next to it, I'm kind of thinking, I'm squinting at that. I feel my eyes relaxing looking at this. I think you might be onto something here, Lewis. Okay, I'm trying not to get carried away because this is just an unboxing of it, but I think this is actually really fascinating. Yeah, it could be really good. So there are bicolor lights, yeah? They're a warm and blue light. You can change that to your heart's content, because it was certainly the transmissive blue lights that were the worst performing in the Harvard test on the cells. But the real test is whether you can do without that altogether and go with the ambient light in the room. And right now, just with the light bouncing off the wall behind it, I can't. But if you perhaps had this in front of a window, which I will try at some point, it might really work. Or if you spilt a lot of light directly onto the wall behind it. I really am going to have to give these both a good side-by-side testing, the LCD and the transmissive Eazeye. And what I'll do is I will bring in some video lights in here and I will light up this room like the sun, and I'll get all the different lighting conditions that I can. We'll also look one day soon having these in a garden room with lots of light. I think that's one issue that people have with ordinary LCDs, is actually working really bright spaces. For instance, glass offices, where it's really lovely to work in a well-lit space, but if you can't see your screen because of the reflections on the screen, then you're going to struggle. And this seems to be handling those reflections quite well. It's got a nice anti-glare surface on the front, so we will see. But at the minute, just with a normal lit room, you wouldn't be able to get away with it. Certainly in his marketing materials, he's got a light bulb hanging directly down behind it. That might be quite a nice situation. But just with RLCD, I am expecting that you're going to have to design a sort of custom lighting solution to get the best out of this at all hours. And it's a really clever design that you can use it if there is enough light with the light off. I can see that just. If you've got a custom solution, whatever is comfortable for your eyes, and at any point you can switch this on to give you enough light to read or to write on it, or you can rotate and clip that panel back here and it looks just as good as any 1080p monitor that I've used. This allows you versatility. It will let you change up and vary what your eyes are getting, the sort of diet of your eyes, and that is going to be good for your eye strain. It also claims to be using 15 times less electricity. I suppose that if you can manage to use it without the lights on. And then don't forget, if you are having to manage a custom light solution, then you'll pay to run that, and of course you'll pay to buy the thing as well. I'm excited to bring you a full review of this soon, and also to show you some side-by-side comparisons with the RLC display. And which one would you prefer? Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Eazeye, for sending this out for review. Well, yeah, I've had the Eazeye on the desk behind me, but I can safely say already that I quite like it for text, but for video editing, photo editing, I think I'm just so used to two things. I'm just so used to the ease of seeing that contrasty display there. You know, Premiere is always in dark mode, which is quite annoying actually, but it does tend to do better on an LCD panel than it does on any other type. And also, these are much bigger. These are Q4K, and I think they're not quite 32, or they must be 28 inch monitors, whereas this is, I think, a 24. So this is its natural habitat really, which is with the window behind it. We should be able to do without even the panel taking the ambient light. Remove this entirely and not have the light on at all. And yeah, it should look absolutely fabulous. So I'm gonna sit at this, well, no, I'm gonna stand at this desk for a little while. And I'm gonna do a little bit of editing on my laptop here on this screen and see how that goes. Yeah, I think this is how it's meant to be used. A nice bright window behind it, using the ambient light, no flicker whatever, just the light that's coming in through the window. It's that lovely natural light that we're evolved to enjoy.